Okay, you go.
Okay. So thank you for the slot for the discussion. Thank you also for putting me at first inside the schedule, because I'm in Australia, which means that I'm between 12 and 14 hours in front of you. So for me, it's the night. And I will make a presentation about the tool that we used with the Grandma collaboration, ICARE. I prefer to pronounce it ICARE, which give a better idea of what the tool can do. So the first thing is that some of you may have heard about Grandma. It's a network that has been made in order to study gravitational wave events and targets. The acronym GRANMA means Global Rapid Advanced Network devoted to the multi-messenger addicts. We had a huge amount of comments on that in any Anglo-Saxon country, because we are not really understanding why we call that GRANMA. So I will not give the history of the acronym, but it's something that is very funny for a lot of people. But the main idea was to have a centrally coordinated network of telescopes, which means that we needed to have a kind of centralization tool in order to allow for the observation of this target. So it's something which is not very new. At the level of France, it's an obsession since 2004. You had CADOR, which is the base of the tarot networks. That was the first idea that you had there. You had GRBase that went. You had the Figaro and FigaroNet. It's something which basically it's extremely Napoleonian in the idea to basically coordinate all Europes and all the worlds. Problem is that every time we failed, mostly because of a lack of money. But Impossible is not French, and from all these things, we understood that the key ingredient is the software. So now 2 years ago, you had a new attempt made by French postdoctorants, Sarah Antier, David Corr, and Damien Turpin, who started to build a new tool in order to prepare the GRANMA network. I joined them once we realized that the task was a bit larger than what it was expected. And at the end, mostly with the help of David, that was really the main architect at that time, we were able to run the software during all the run of free and to have results with GRANMA. But in one sense, we have decided to share this software, and this is not sharing GRANMA, because GRANMA is a network mostly, is really sharing the tools. So for that, we forge a new acronym, and at the end, basically, ICARE stands for I care about taking the observation for you. So in a nutshell, the software is something that handles alerts, prepare observation plans in order to mutualize these alerts and to send observation requests onto various telescopes, which are not meant to work together. So it's something that is thought with the idea that you could have a network composed by various kinds of telescopes, some of them being fully robotized, some of them being manually operated, some of them being not thought at all for cooperations. The idea is really to send all of that. The telescopes perform the observations, and the tool requests some feedback from these observations. We have an on-the-fly analysis, and the optical candidates are reported to the main interface. Obviously, it's something that cannot be made only robotically. You need to have a human within the loop. First, to make sure that the observations are performed, because you never know with the telescopes how the things will play. And also to request some additional image if it's needed, because it's far more efficient to decide that the target is important and you just break the observation schedule in order to request new observations. So we consider that human within the loop as the maestro of the orchestra, but he is there just to handle and to to navigate inside ICARE. So how it's working technically, it's something like that. You start on the left where you have an alert which is reported, and that alert covers a certain amount of surface of the sky. That error box is split into various boxes that fit the various field of view of the instruments. And then all these alerts and requests are sent to the various telescopes, each of them then doing the observations one by one. It's the thing that you have at the middle where the observations start to be completed. And on the right, you have the final results when everything has been observed and where you have basically the various objects that are detected and basically are candidates for that thing. All of that is controlled through the main ICARE page, which is basically the thing that you have there, where you have on the left a visualization of what is done at the moment with the telescopes, and on the right a logbook in order for you to basically put the informations as you retrieve it and you gather it from the TCN, from the various teams that are observing the target and all the team. At the bottom of the page, which is not shown there, you have other information. For instance, you can have a list of galaxies that are located inside the error box. Everything that is needed in order to help a little the shifter to understand exactly what he has in the image. We have a lot of tools inside ICARE. Most of them are ID at the moment inside the code. We have visibility plot. We have an automapper for GCNs. You have something that produces the light curves if you have reobservations of the same objects, so that you can understand how the objects are variables. You have some excerpts at the bottom there of the sky where you can clearly see how the system is working. We have also made something in order to play with the shifts, so that so that we have various kind of users that can log at the same time. You have a shifter which has basically the control of interface, but you have also spectators that can request the power of a shifter if it's needed. For instance, if something is very important and the shifter is not answering or responding. So it's something which is also safe because you can have spectators that do not handle and do not interfere with the maestro. So all of that, and this is my last slide. If I'm just put the takeaway points, ICARE is made to handle any kind of transient observation. It has been thought since the beginning to study gamma ray burst with the idea that at that time we could want to add neutrinos and high energy protons. So these things is also useful to study now gravitational waves. So really we can see any kind of things. The tool is available for free. We don't ask for any payment or whatever. And it will be fully released by early next year, or maybe even late on this year. It has been extremely delayed due to the COVID-19, like everything, but we are working hard. And the documentation and the first part should be made public in 10 days. And just on the very last steps of checking that everything is working correctly before releasing it publicly. All the public code is located into a GitLab directory, which is located at the in Paris at the EN2P3 Institute. You have at the bottom the address if you want to have a look. It's basically there that you will see passing the code as soon as we have something that is ready for distribution publicly. And after that, that's all. Thank you. If you have questions, I'm there.
Thank you, Bruce. I see no question in the conversation page, but I have one question. What is the status? I mean, people they register. You have a telescope, you register to ICARE, or how does it work? I mean, ICARE will ask you'd observe this or this place, for instance, you can do something else in between, or what is the status of someone who wants to work with ICARE and maybe outside ICARE at the same time?
Someone that wants with ICARE, first he needs to make his own network or to have his own telescope. Then he will program that telescope into the system. I've created some administration page where basically you log inside and you put all the information about your own telescope or your own network of telescopes. And then that tool will basically send the information to the telescopes. We are doing that with scripts that at the moment are still under cleaning and debugging, and basically we are removing all the grandma stuff to make something which is very independent for the collaboration. But we are thinking that this will be done in a couple of months. These tools basically is something that you install on the other side. There are scripts, Python scripts that listen to ICARE and intercept the things. Then you have to build your own interface in order to send the order to the telescopes.
And can you say ICARE that you want to you make your telescope available for gravitational wave alerts, but not for gamma ray burst or something like that?
This is something that is possible. It's at the moment not coded inside the system, hard coded, because the only target that we have at the moment is gravitational waves. But it's something that is technically possible, yes. Each kind of event has its own signature, and you can obviously restrict the telescope to respond to only one kind of signature.
Okay. More questions? One, two, three. So you will always have the opportunity to ask more questions to Bruce later today during the discussion or the breaks. But now I propose we go to the next talk by Rosa.